Good morning and welcome to the October monthly DAC Webcast. I'm Jennifer Stafford, the Director in the Division of Assessment and Accountability Support, and we welcome you today to this special presentation because today is Quality Control Data Release Embargo Day. So we've got a excellent team around us today, prepared to bring you the most up-to-date information around the data release as well as other updates. We've got Lisa Jett, who is going to bring us information about the kindergarten screen. We also have an announcement about our some internal positioning of the alternate assessment, and we're going to announce some new personnel that's taking over that, as well as bring you updates on the opening of the alternate assessment, and also bring you some updates on the career and technical education as it relates to the administration code. And I'm here for Shara Savage today, who is off supporting the senior administration of the ACT. I'm going to bring you some updates about the ACT. And so let's get started. And as you have questions, you can email dacinfo@education.ky.gov. So today is the opening of the school report card to our district assessment coordinators and our school report card contacts. An email went out earlier today to those two groups of individuals that we had a little bit of issue with our communications, that the URL and the password was shared, and that URL was supposed to immediately populate the username. So the username was not included in the original email because it was supposed to pre-populate for everyone. So we thought we were working toward being able to support our DACs and our school report card contacts, but technology didn't work exactly as it was planned. So an follow-up email was sent with the username. So at this point, all DACs and school report card contacts should have all the information that is needed to access the school report card. So as we've mentioned, this is the next step in the process toward working toward our public release of school accountability and assessment data. So during this embargo period, it is a time for our districts to preview the information that will be shared publicly. So this is the updated information from our quality control process. So as we have talked about the process in the past, the first step in the quality control process was in the spring, getting the rosters right. We moved on to the fall with our fall data review. And then we had our quality control day, where we did find a few minor issues with the data. Those were cleared up, and then this updated version of the data files and information are now available to district assessment coordinators in the secured data application. So those updated school report card files, the information that was shared with the school report card vendor, are now accessible to our district assessment coordinators. So those are updated files from the quality control day. So if your school or a district was impacted by the corrections, those were updated, and those files are now in the school report card that you're seeing and have access to today. Now, during this data embargo period, you, as the district assessment coordinator and school report card contact, are able to see your district's information, as well as you can now see the other districts, that your surrounding districts. You can also view the state accountability data, so where the state is, and you can see those comparisons to those districts around you, other districts in the state, as well as the state as a whole. So during this embargo period, you may share internally with your leaders, with teachers, are able to now view that summary data, and you can share that summary data with the people who need to have that information. Now, during this time frame, today and over the next few days, you can come to an understanding of where your schools and districts landed in the performance, and may begin to prepare responses to questions that you may receive from local communities, reporters, your community, and other stakeholders. So this is the time that you can begin to think through and craft that message that you want to prepare. Now, at this point, again, it is embargo, so please do not share in any public meetings. You may share with your local boards of education the information, but you can do that individually, and you may do that electronically if you can share things electronically with them. Everyone that you share it with, though, does need to complete that embargo period non-disclosure form. So please keep that in mind. The next step in the process will be that the media will receive the information, and they will receive the same information that you did today. So our media releases the reporters that have that that are officially contacted and have the names with our communications staff here at KDE will receive the same URL, the same username and password that was shared with district assessment coordinators and school report card contacts today. So they'll receive that tomorrow, and then on Monday, the commissioner, Dr. Glass, has a scheduled time to talk with media. So he's going to take questions and field questions from our local media and state media. And then on Tuesday, October 18th, that early morning at 12:01, the school report card will then become public. It will be open to everyone without that username and password, so that everyone will be able to just click on the school report card and access the same information that you have access to through that school report card. Now, then you also, as district assessment coordinators, you have access again to all the information that pertains to your school, your students, and your district. You will have access to the suppressed data. And as it was during Quality Control Day, the data that are suppressed are identified in those spreadsheets in red font. And so you'll be able to see that information there locally, although it's not public in the school report card. As a local district assessment coordinator and local educators, you do have access to that suppressed data in those. The next step in the process, then after the release of the school report card, will be the regulatory review of the data. And at that point, then you may again ask and request for individual changes to the data. So that period is a period of 10 days. The dates are here on the slide for us, October 18th through the 27th. And at that point, we'll open up SDRR and we'll have more directions for you to make those individual changes again. It'll be a similar process that we had during the fall data review back in August, where you were able to request the individual changes. So be looking for information about how to request individual changes coming next week. Now, earlier this week, we did in the Monday DAC email share some public release resources with you to help you as a district assessment coordinator prepare for the release. We have many resources available to you. Started out with how to prepare for public release. That was just to get you thinking and put a lot of the resources in one place for you to access and be able to readily click and be able to review the materials that were previously released. We also have for you a couple of resources that may help you that are customizable. We have the PowerPoint template. Now that PowerPoint template is huge. It is very large, and we do not expect you, or would we ever want you to use that many slides in one presentation. But the approach that we took with that template was to put information that we thought that you may want to share with your local boards of education, community members, or a site-based decision-making council. So we put as many slides in there in the presentation that we thought may be of interest to you and your leaders and your community. Use the ones that you want to use, putting in your local information, delete the rest so that you make it very personalized to your situation and your district or your school. So please do not use that in its entirety, because you will lose attention from your audience. We do have some parent letters for the Kentucky Summative Assessment, as well as the alternate Kentucky Summative Assessment that you can customize again for your parents. Again, those are for you to utilize as you see fit. We also have a frequently asked question document that you can customize locally. This is for you as you begin to communicate to your local community. You can answer those questions and actually make that into a document that can be shared with your parents and your board members, your local community leaders, or you can use that internally to help you craft your message. So again, that's for you to use as you feel comfortable and the way that you, as the district assessment coordinator, want to communicate the assessment results. Now, there will be two other resources that will be helpful. The Office of Communications at KDE is preparing a media packet as well as a press release. So those two additional resources will be helpful for you. And when they get those completed and released, we will make sure that district assessment coordinators have access to those. Now, public reporting is happening. It's ready, and we have all the steps toward our public release. We also have individual student reports. Those come from Pearson for both the Kentucky Summative Assessment as well as the alternate Kentucky Summative Assessment. Those are due to be in districts by tomorrow. So district assessment coordinators should look for those individual student reports. I think that you're going to like those because they are refreshed and have a new look to those, similar to the dashboard that you are viewing now in the school report card that's more colorful. The individual student reports are more colorful. They have images on those, and they have also a new QR code. There was not enough room on the individual student report to put all of the information about the student's performance and those performance level descriptors. So that QR code can be used by parents to click and have more information other than just what's on the individual student report. So that's a new step for our vendor as well as KDE to utilize that new technology and to provide more information to our parents. Those individual student reports should be shared with your parents and your students. At some point, you will want to provide those and send those home. But you can do that after the 18th. So after we go public with the data, you'll want to send those home in whatever fashion that you and your principals and your local district want to do that. A lot of schools, they send them home with the students through their backpacks or in their folders. Some schools, I think, still mail those home. So it really just depends on you locally at the approach that you decide as a district coordinator in your local, your team. Now, we do ask you to take that step that those parents and send those reports home to parents. And we plan to survey our DACs in the future. Once we get past the public reporting, we're going to send out a survey. It'll be a very short survey that will need to be completed, verifying that those parent reports did go home. Those individual student reports did go home to our parents. So at some point in the future, we will, through a Monday DAC email, send out that link to a survey that you as a district assessment coordinator will just verify that those parent reports or that those individual student reports did go home. Be a very quick survey coming soon. Now, let's pause now. Ben Riley is taking questions through DAC Info. Let me pause here and see if we have any questions. Ben?
Hey, Jennifer, I'm just refreshing the inbox right now. It looks like we currently haven't received any questions yet.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. That's good because if we don't have any questions, then our communications have answered all of those. So I'll hang out here until we get over to ACT and turn it over now to Lisa Jett for K-Screen.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I just want to hop in here and provide some K-Screen reminders. The deadline for districts to enter and submit core assessment and self-help social emotional data into the Brigance online management system, it's normally October 15th, but with October 15th falling on a Saturday this year, the deadline has been moved to Monday, October 17th. The deadline to have prior settings entered into Infinite Campus is following the same date of Monday, October 17th. It is important for districts to keep a copy of their K-Screen data for reference or comparative purposes, as the current database in OMS will be removed each spring after the window closes. This is to prepare the OMS for the upcoming school year. Once this occurs, you will no longer have access to student data within OMS for this screening year. So we do recommend that once all of your data has been entered, to go ahead and download a CSV file of that data using the group screening summary report. With October 17th also being the deadline to have prior settings entered into Infinite Campus, we do have a report for you to run in Infinite Campus to check those prior settings. When you, the first thing you'll need to do is to click on the ad hoc reporting. Next would be data export. Then you'll choose state published. Click on student early learning prior settings. And when you click on student early learning prior settings, please make sure you have active years selected. You will select the CSV file. You need to make sure that the comma is marked. Click export to download the CSV file. Then you can scan through it and filter it to ensure all of the prior settings have been entered for your kindergarten students. And lastly, for the first time, Curriculum Associates in the Office of Assessment and Accountability will be offering a webinar focusing on how to implement data received from the Brigance Kentucky Screener. This will be a live event via Zoom. Registration is not required for this event. If you are unable to attend in person, don't worry. Curriculum Associates will be recording this training once the recording is available. I'll reach out through a Monday DAC email or a case screen update with more details. This event will be on October 25th from 3 to 4 Eastern Time. Before I turn it over to Devin, Ben, are there any questions at this time?
I'm refreshing right now. I do not have any questions for case screen at this time, but if we get any in between, just like if we get any for Jennifer, we'll follow up at the end with the final Q&A.
All right, thank you. Devin, I'll turn it over to you. Devin, I think you're muted.
It was just that kind of day. I was just talking away. So good morning. My name is Devin Avery, a program consultant. Most of you probably are familiar with me through accommodations. We are having a bit of an internal shift, so I will now be your contact for the AKSA. I'll still answer any accommodations questions or needs to support you in the interim, but I just wanted to introduce myself in that new role. And I wanted to bring you some updates that are related to the AKSA. So the TAR administration training opened a couple weeks ago. It was on Monday, October 3rd. That training will close on March 24th, 2023. So last year the training didn't close, so you could access it right up until the end. This year it does have a closing date, so please be aware of that. Links to the administration guide and the PowerPoint that you need for that certification quiz are available on our AKSA page. The certification quiz is in the online training system, or the OTS. And again, please make sure all of your TAR lead administrators complete their training before March 24th. So once your lead team member has completed the training and received certification, and all of your members involved have completed their administration code and inclusion of special population trainings, the TAR may be administered. It is a checklist, so you do not need student involvement unless you have to create a task to show student mastery of a skill. The TAR must be completed by May 30th, 2023, and the scores have to be entered into the student registration database, the SRD, by June 2nd, 2023, and that is a firm deadline this year. Also, the ESAR, Employability Skills Attainment Record, or the ESAR training, is going to be available tomorrow, Friday, October 14th. You can find that on the Working with Exceptional Children page through the Office of Career and Technical Education KDE site. And I've also linked that here. Again, that's not going to go live until tomorrow. So once your qualified ESAR administrator, they call that the QEA, completes the certification quiz found on the OTS, the ESAR document can be downloaded and completed by the team. And please refer to the administration guide for that, for the specifics in completing that document. The ESAR document must be completed by May 30th, 2023. So that kind of coincides with when our other things are due as well. Also, time is really flying. It's already mid-October, and so we're going to look ahead to window 1 for our attainment task administration for grades 3 through 8 and 10 to 11. Our test materials are scheduled to ship the week of October 24th, and early access to that student registration database also opens on Monday, October 24th. Please make sure in this time that anyone administering those attainment tasks completes the overview and attainment task combined training before it closes on November 14. It will close the same day that the window opens. And I've also included a link to our combined calendar. It has all the dates for the alternate, the TAR, CWEC, and ESAR. And there will also be an email going out tomorrow when the ESAR goes live so that you'll have all of that information as well. All right, Ben, are there any questions about AKSA?
We don't have any questions about AKSA at this time.
All right, thank you, Ben. So I'm going to turn it back over to Jennifer to talk about some ACT spring administration trainings coming up.
Hey,
Thank you,
Jennifer.
Devin, and thanks to Lisa as well. Shara Savage, our program consultant for the ACT, is at an office hour supporting our test coordinators and the implementation of the senior ACT administration this fall. And she has some information that she just wanted to share about the junior administration that is coming in the spring. So first, there it is coming. As Devin mentioned, we are already almost to mid-October, and this school year is flying by. The junior administration is just around the corner, and the spring administration for work to begin on the junior administration will open in PAN, which is the Pearson Access Next for the ACT, will open on November 7th, so here just in a couple weeks. There are trainings that are scheduled for the test administration. They are very, very team-oriented between KDE and ACT. We do have administrators from KDE as well as program support from the ACT that will be in town providing all the information for our implementation of the statewide ACT. We'll start with a in-person trainings in Lexington and Bowling Green. Those are happening on November 8th and November 9th. And they are, again, going to be in person, as well as there will be virtual webinars provided on November 14th and then again on November 15th. Now, the webinars, the virtual webinars are specific topics. As you can see, the November 14th is on the test administration, and it is focusing on the pre-test activities, whereas the 15th is about the accommodations. So you know that the accommodations and the applications for accommodations for ACT approved is very quick. So we want to provide that support for our test coordinators and our students who need those ACT approved accommodations. So information specific to those topics will be presented during those webinars. So we have both the in-person and virtual webinars. I'm going to turn it back over to Devin at this point, who's going to bring us some updates on career and technical education industry certifications.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. I remembered to unmute this time. So I'm here to bring you an update related to industry certifications. So a DAC has asked the question, do CTE teachers who administer only industry certification assessments, not the EOPs or skilled trades track, need to complete admin code training? And we have confirmed with legal that yes, districts should comply with administration code and complete the training when school personnel are administering industry certifications. However, if testing requirements of that certification vendor conflict with our administration code, the vendor requirements should be followed rather than the administration code. So yes, everyone has to have that admin code training and follow those protocols unless it conflicts with your vendor, and then you should follow vendor-specific testing requirements. The admin code states that it should be followed for all state-required assessments and optional tests administered by school personnel. And again, if the testing requirements conflict with the administration code, follow your vendor requirements. Also, as a reminder, the CTE end of program or EOP assessments and the skilled trades track assessments for carpentry, electrical, and welding must be administered in compliance with Kentucky's administration code and 703 KAR 5:070, the inclusion of special populations regulation and training. All individuals participating in the administration of the EOP assessments and skilled trades track assessments must complete their required trainings prior to administration of those assessments at the local level. If you have any questions regarding industry certifications, EOPs, or the track assessments for carpentry, electrical, or welding, please contact Sherry Craig. Her email is here on the screen, or Scott Uselis for assistance. All right, and now we are to our general question and answer session. I believe Jennifer will handle that. If you do have any questions, please remember to send those into DAC Info. Thank you.
Thanks, thank you, Devin. And Ben, let me turn to you and see if you have any additional questions for either Lisa, myself, or Devin.
Hey, I'm hitting the refresh button one more time to make sure before I say this. It looks like we've only gotten one question, which I'm gonna answer that one personally because it's a little bit more of a personal question. But other than that, we have gotten no questions so far.
Wonderful. Well, we thank you, Ben, for providing the questions and monitoring the email. We thank Devin as well as Lisa this morning for the information that they brought. And we thank you, the district assessment coordinators and others who are watching today, for all that you do. And we appreciate your time today. If there's anything that we can do to support you through this public release, please reach out. As Ben said, we personally respond to each and every one of your questions, and we want to make sure that you have all the information that you need to communicate about our assessments, our accountability system, because again, it is a new system. This is the first time we've reported on it, and we're here to support you in those efforts. Our next webcast is scheduled for next month, November 10th, and at the same time at 11 o'clock Eastern, 10 Central. So again, we appreciate your time and attention. Until we see you next time, please stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.